meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, June 4th. Please stand for the invocation led by Public Safety Chaplain Thomas Hurd and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pause a moment and come into God's presence. Blessed are you, O Lord God, creator of the universe, creator of all things. You have given us the charge to be stewards of your creation, to take care of the lands, the waters, and your people. Over time, we have failed on all of those counts, yet you still desire to be in relationship with us. Bless us with your presence as we move forward today. Bless this city, its citizens, its council, and all who serve it, that we may be faithful to the obligations that you put upon us. These things we ask in your holy and blessed name. Amen.
Roll call. Councilmember Penn.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll.
Here.
Council President Small.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Here.
Councilmember Daves. Councilmember Woods.
Here.
Vice President Gregory. Here. Statement of rules by Council President.
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And welcome to our June 4th meeting. At this meeting, we do have rules. At this time, I ask if anyone have any type of electronic device, including cell phones, please at this time put on the off of the vibrate position, the off of the vibrate position. Any person that is desiring to address the Mobile City Council must sign in indicating the resolution, the ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the meeting. When addressing the council, the speaker must give his or her name. Any person that is desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk office no later than 2:00 p.m. the Thursday prior to the council meeting. The subject that he or she wishes to express to the council must be identified and pertain to the city of Mobile business. And a person that has not given proper notice to the city clerk office and wishes to speak on a non-agenda item would not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 2 minutes. 1 minute remains for summarizing. The second bell indicates that your time has expired. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council members. All statements are to be made to the chair, who will recognize any council member who wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there shall not be no outcry or public outcry allowed, and maintain decorum. Madam Clerk.
Communications from Mayor Stimpson.
Good morning. Good to see everyone this morning. Just have a couple of announcements this morning. The first has to do with an event at the Mobile Museum of Art. It's called the Makers Market and Open House. It's this Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. It's an afternoon of local shopping, live music, food trucks, art activities, and free admission to the museum. This is in support of our local artisans that, who refer to themselves typically as makers. Thus the name Makers Market, and it will feature a variety of handmade items such as jewelry, pottery, self-care products, and baked goods. You can enjoy live music from a local band, Denver Halsey, while at the shop. We ask you to please stop by some of the food trucks that will also be there. During the open house, you can explore the very popular children's exhibition called For Children, and it shows the elements, reveals to them as children, the elements of art and design. So we hope that y'all will visit the museum this Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. Another event that we'll have will be very important for those that are interested in the forward progress of the Civic Center. And as we continue to plan for the arena, we want to make sure that local businesses of all kinds have the tools they need to compete for the opportunities related to this multi-million-dollar project. So this Thursday, this Thursday at 6 o'clock, the City of Mobile Supplier Diversity will partner with Volkert Inc. and Norman Hill Consulting Solutions to host a business opportunity fair highlighting how local businesses can get involved in this upcoming major project. It will be located at the National Maritime Museum of the Gulf of Mexico, which we also refer to as the Explorium. This event will help local businesses learn the various opportunities. We'll also explain what's required to work with the City of Mobile and offer participants some insight into preparing the competitive bids and proposals for public projects. The Business Opportunity Fair, excellent opportunity to network with other small businesses as well as major contractors and stakeholders involved in the project. So that event at the National Maritime Museum of the Gulf of Mexico will be this Thursday. There's a reception at 5:30, but the program begins at 6 p.m. You can register by going on the city's website and clicking the red banner at the top of the homepage to learn more about Mobile's opportunity to participate in the construction of Mobile's new arena. Mr. President, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
And properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals. We have requests for waivers of the noise ordinance at Trinity Gardens Park on June 8th, at 857 South Scott Street on June 8th, at Lions Park on August 8th, at 3315 Dolphin Island Parkway, June 15th through 21st, and at 4791 LeSueur Road in Theodore on June 14th through 15th.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Mr. Reynolds?
I was not there this morning for pre-council to let everyone know that I'd like to amend the LeSueur Road request to 12 o'clock rather than 2 o'clock.
Any other discussion?
Public hearings. Today is the public hearing to consider.
And we didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Appeal passes.
Okay, public hearings. Today is the public hearing to consider modification of a previously approved plan unit development for property located at 1109, 1111, and 1113 West I-65 Service Road North.
This opened up the public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to consider a modification of a previously approved plan unit development for property located at 4464 and 4474 Halls Mill Road.
This opened up a public hearing for this particular said item. Is anyone present that would like to address the council on this item? Let's start by coming down to the podium by stating your name.
My name is Andrew Hodges at Rowe Engineering and Surveying. I'm here to represent the applicant. I'm just here if there are any questions.
Any questions from the council? Okay. All right, thank you. Is anyone else that would like to address the council on this particular public hearing? If not, this public hearing is closed.
Public hearing to declare the structures at 3154 Riverside Drive and 7151 13th Street public nuisances and order them demolished.
This opens up the public hearing for this particular said items. Is anyone present that would like to address the council? If not, these public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Michael Evans.
Mr. Evans is present. Madam Clerk.
Sylvia Reed.
My name is Sylvia Reed, and I live at 6664 Lincolnshire Road, Mobile, Alabama, which is off of Tilma Corner. I'm here today to address the police brutality that I experienced myself, and it was last Saturday and this weekend also. last Saturday, all of a sudden I was getting ready to go to a game with my grandchildren, and I heard police cars, and I looked. So I was on my way out, so I had my purse in my hand, going from under the garage to go to the game. And all of a sudden I hear a cop saying, "Get down." And he had a gun at me, pointed in my almost forehead or somewhere, and he said, "Get down." And I had to get on my knees, and I said, "Please don't kill me." And I said, "No one in the house have a gun." They was supposed to be my son. And my other son, girlfriend, Kayla Buttrin, I truly believe have the connection with the police. We've been having some things going on as we're planned, I believe, by Mobile City official, that everything going in my house. I truly believe that y'all have planned the death of my family due to our stolen retirement. And police brutality has been really bad when it comes to my family. And we have had to call the police a whole lot because of the playing of the roads and going on with the police and with my life. Police have really, every report I called them for, they have put suspicious activity, when I researched that, it had to do with financial issue. They have never narrated the story of why I called them out there, it's a line of the same wording, suspicious activity. Now, if the police cannot come and give a narrative statement, he don't need to be a police force. But I want to get back to the treatment that was had. My son was in a crisis when they got there. They was after him. They run around the house, putting guns everywhere. And when my son went haywire because he's military, and so he went in the roof of the house. It was the worst of 70, I counted 7 marked police cars and about 4 unmarked police cars that had surrounded the neighborhood from one street to another to come after a guy that's having some issues, but he didn't have a weapon. Now, yesterday they say he came back and he had a weapon, but he was at his own house, if he had the weapon. My son disappeared yesterday in the custody of the police department. I call it kidnap because I have not seen him since then. I got report from the police or Tim McCorner that the police got him at 1300 hour military time, which is about 1 o'clock our time. I have not seen my son. My understanding, Chatham Police is involved in this abduction. I call it an abduction. Now, I want to see about this police brutality, and you all staging want my death because you're using my family's stolen retirement.
All right. Thank you.
That's exactly, y'all staging.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Thank you.
John Young.
And Ms. Reed, you need to file a complaint with Internal Affairs. I'm just stating to you, you need Office of Internal Affairs.
Office of Internal Affairs.
Yes, ma'am.
I have filed a complaint.
Internal Affairs. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Internal Affairs?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is that located?
That's down on Government Street, right across from Whataburger.
Okay, I have went there, and they took the report.
Yes, ma'am. No, okay.
But they have the report.
All right.
I need somebody to
All right.
find my family.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Man United Against Violence. This is John Ford, and this is Dr. Carlos M. Diaz. Our summer campaign kicks off. Your words have meaning. Speak wisely. And what we're targeting now are young men that are involved in gang activity, but it's like the rap gang culture now. They've become completely desensitized and detached from reality that they've adopted it. What part of our summer campaign is introducing Dr. Diaz and his psychiatry expertise and maybe getting these kids some help. And we're asking you guys to promote our campaign, and wherein we're able to fit in this summer, please find space for us. I'll give the remainder of my time to Dr. Diaz to explain what we're offering.
Thank you, everybody. Hey, Dr. Diaz, CEO, owner of Life Psychiatry, LIFE, living in freedom every day. John 10:10 said, I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. Are we living our fullest life? Not so. Tillman, I looked up some of the statistics. Tillman in Mobile, 355% more crime in Tillman than West Mobile. Oakdale, 313% more crime. Maryvale, 274%. North Crichton, 159%. If you humor me, a mentor of mine once told me when I was training PhD students, there were 2 men fishing in a lake, right? And all of a sudden, one of the men saw a baby floating down the lake. So he jumped out and he grabbed the baby. Soon after, he saw another baby, and he kept jumping out. Finally, the man stopped getting the babies and he went to shore. The other man said, "What are you doing? There's still babies on the lake. I have to figure out what's happening. Who's throwing these babies into the lake?" You know, I work in New York City. I was born and raised in New York City, one of the worst neighborhoods, Corona, Queens, during the crack cocaine epidemic. I went to work in Miami, went to work in New Jersey, and now I'm here. And I love it here. I love what you guys are doing. But what's happening is, shoot, we only have a minute. There's a lot of things going on. One is the socioeconomic status of the people in these neighborhoods. They're stuck. They're basically jailed. Two, the developmental crisis, not having both parents at home. I know what that's like. I grew up in the hood myself in Corona, Queens, without a father. And I had pimps and gang members as my mentors, okay? But what's happening is an antisocial personality disorder that's developing in these youths through trauma. We call it dissociation and derealization, which is why we see these young kids shooting each other and having no remorse. Okay, what can we do about it? Can we stop it? Yes, but we have to get our hands dirty and do it the right way. Not throwing a basketball or football in the hands of these kids, but rather equipping them with good education, family values, good morals, and having people like us that want to get our hands dirty and join with them and teach them. Thank you so much.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds.
can you give me those statistics that you started off with again?
Yes, sir. So I read on Mobile government website, Tillman, 355% more crime than Mobile, Alabama, where I live.
Well, in what time frame, I guess?
This was, so it was from 2021 to today.
Okay, and then the next one you said?
Oakdale, 313% more crime. Maryville, 274% more crime. Greenmount, 208%.
Hold on, you're going too fast. I'm sorry. I got Maryville.
Maryville, 274% more crime.
Okay.
Greenmount, 208%.
Okay.
North Crichton, 159%. And if I could just add this, for free, pro bono, because I'm a Christian brother and I know what it's like, okay? 26 males and females off of heroin, opioids, no methadone. So it's tough for me because it's a business. So other businesses want to take me out of business. All I want to do is what John 10:10 says. Can we be free? Can we live our freest life?
Okay, any other questions, Mr. Reynolds?
No, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Gregory.
Thank you for your time.
Ms.
Yeah.
Gregory.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you so much.
I know you're talking about the campaign. So, John, if you all can give us some details about the campaign and what we on the council can do to help you promote what you're doing and what you need.
Yes, ma'am. Two things. Announce it that the crisis that we're dealing with is conscious with these young men that become so detached from reality. Let's just admit that they've adopted a mentality that's violent, right? And then what is the cure? Well, you know, our foundation is family, but what Dr. Diaz, I would like him to get into was the life psychiatry offers these men tools, these young men, the ideas and tools to circumvent the violent behavior, to give them mental and emotional stability and treatment because the arenas that they're growing up in is so traumatic. So if we attack the family, if we look at the foundation of the family first, the fathers and mothers, but then treat the children and the parents, then we think that we can start really getting a grasp on decreasing crime. So what we like you to do, if there's anywhere you can fit in Dr. Diaz in any of your summer programs, we'll be more than happy to give you his information and call him and let him come talk to some of these young men and young ladies and even the family members to give them the mental health that they need.
One thing that comes to mind pretty quickly is we have summer camp programs at many of our parks and recreation centers that might be a good way to fit him in fairly easily. And I see Shonda, I don't see Kim here, but that might be something that we can help get you all involved in. I know Hillsdale has a summer camp in my district, and so do the other districts. So I appreciate that. If you've got anything in PDF form, anything like that, promoting what you're doing, and
a basic picture of the human brain.
yeah, I don't think that's good.
Contact information.
What we're looking for is maybe some information that we can put in our newsletters about the campaign and maybe even contact information that people can get involved with. I know Sergeant Young. Why don't you give that to Lana? And just any, any place where churches, camps, whatever that, we can, get you all involved in and being able to present to the kids and just give them some information and talk to them.
Yes, ma'am, and he's a licensed psychiatrist and counselor, and let them have someone talk to.
Sergeant.
One more question, another question. Are y'all being funded through private donations? Is that how you get your funding?
Yes, sir, private donation, but it's mostly self-funded.
Yes, okay,
We pay for it out of pocket mostly.
okay. Thank you very much.
One second, Sergeant.
Mr. President.
Councilman
I'm
Carroll.
John
my
today,
second.
I'm off duty, yeah, I know.
But,
I have to make that distinction.
we're still an officer.
Yes, sir.
I just heard you mention 29 people off of you didn't say opioids?
Opioid, yes, sir.
I may still have a little water in my ears, but I think 2 weeks ago, city realized that we had $2.2 million in monies that could be used for opioid transition and that type of work. We established at that time that we did not have a process for application and how it was going to be done. If you have a program that is taking individuals off of opioids, then I think that you should reach out to that department in the city and see what that process is, because that's a lot of money that's not being used right now.
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
And start that process immediately. But as I stated 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a named process to go through this. So I would reach out to the administration now. I heard the mayor just mention how you fund it. So this might be an opportunity for some city support right there.
Thank you so much. I'm new here. I'm green, so I don't know anybody, So thank you for that, Mr. Carroll, and for educating me on that stuff. I appreciate it.
One of the questions, do y'all reach out to Taylor Park and also Harmon Recreation Center?
I reach out to everybody, but John Young knows better than I do.
Not specifically, but I have spoken to people in the Parks Department, but we're available to anyone.
Okay, Taylor Park is where the Oakdale community is, and I can put you in connection with Ms. Marie Chastain,
Yes,
and
sir.
also over in Harmon, because a lot of people from Maryville have been going to Harmon Recreation with the Boys and Girls Club, and that's through this, with the city of Mobile.
Yes, sir.
But reaching out to Taylor Park and also Harmon.
Yes, sir.
Great
My cell phone's
resources.
the same and my email's the same. If you will be there.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
One
Thank you.
last thing, when I was working in New York City, what I did was I started a summer youth employment program. What we did was we took the kids from these neighborhoods, we taught them how to tie a tie, how to write a resume, and we put them with professionals, how to answer a phone, how to budget. Hey, you're getting 120 a week. That was back in the 90s. Getting 120 a week, that was a lot of money. And how to budget it for the whole week. So these are skills that will pull these kids out of their prison
Yes, sir.
and
All
make
right.
them good citizens.
All right, thank you so much,
Thank you,
Doctor.
guys.
Thank y'all.
Mr. President,
Mr. Penn.
I did have a question for the doctor. The numbers that you stated, what are you comparing them to? You said 300% higher. What are you comparing it?
It said more crime than Mobile, where I'm at. I'm really bad. I just moved here. I'm by Greenlawn and Hillcrest. It was comparing it to that neighborhood.
To that particular area?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Then the second thing, of course, I'm a big advocate for young people. I
Sure.
work with young people nonstop.
I love it.
Do you have a program, a curriculum? What would be, if someone want to get in contact, is it a program? Is it a curriculum? Is it a session?
Thank you, Mr. Penn. I just started my psychiatric clinic in March. We just opened May. Okay? Since that day, we've been seeing miracles. So my plan ultimately is to start an inpatient facility. We're going to buy a La Quinta hotel where we're going to take these kids. Right now, all I'm doing is therapy with the parents, marriage reconciliation, how to communicate with the children. And I'd love to get more into it, how I do it. And I'd love to show you how the brain works and how what I do actually does work. I've been working with Judge Naaman and other people. Judge Naaman told me himself, ever since you came to Mobile, crime has dropped. I said, I've been seeing less kids. My paperwork, and that was his words. They need people that can reach them. I need help because, like John said, we're doing it. I'm paying my own money. We're paying our own money to fund this stuff, and we get our hands dirty. We're the type of people that we want to do this. So use us.
Okay.
Use us. Please do.
All right.
we want to make a change. We want Mobile to be great, and we love those kids over there. And thank you guys for this time.
All right, thank you.
Please feel free to contact me whenever.
Okay.
Thank you.
Reggie Hill.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Madam Assistant City Clerk. To the citizens and stakeholders of Mobile, greetings. Reggie Hill is my name. I rise today hoping to find true meaning to point of order. I want to reflect on the idea of the fitness for duty and the Mobile Parks and Recreation Department. Let's begin again just like before, and I hope I will only have one more presentation on these matters. With the Parks and Recreation piece, as I mentioned before about efforts with the pools maybe being recognized, we saw that there were some issues with the rollout. I'm not sure what the status of it is. We'd like to have some info on that. And as well, there was some messaging that was put out in previous years about Success for the Future about the time frame in which these centers will open. And so we've seen where that increase has happened, extending the time, and so we're appreciative of that. But we still come to this issue about the charging of the summer camps, and particularly in high poverty and underserved areas. I thought that this was something that was done throughout the entire city, through all of our centers and facilities, but come to find out they're in predominantly Black communities. And so I would like to see, again, as requested last week, that that be removed. We cannot prevent public property from the citizens who actually pay for it. Let's look at this idea about the fitness for duty, please. I'm grateful to the late great Senator Michael Figures for bringing about the opportunity so we can have due process, so that we can have distinct authority and balanced ruling. I think that we have kind of missed that, and the direct example is through investigatory powers. When an administration begins to lead the charge for anything dealing with investigation, that should be the immediate red flag. So that we don't have to walk that back and then lead it as this idea of restoring trust, because that's something that's kind of already missed, especially if there's no sentiment or messaging being put out that we're going to use this to actually get some corrections. So it's got to be more than just the idea of the trust factor if something is found to be wrong. Again, we saw this with the Public Works Department a few years back, where we had a third party to come in and then find out that there were some irregularities that should have been checked, but nothing was done. Let's look at the rules here. We must understand the difference between the state law and local rules. That's the Zombie Act and council rules. For an example, there's a significant difference when addressing the council. It's interesting to me that we've been seeing this idea of, can I get 2 votes here? Can I get another person here and that and the third, where the statute, I think it's 2-62, section 5, if I'm not mistaken, it says any member will be able to do that. So that's what we're saying about this conflict of interest, or this idea of fitness for duty, because you got your own rules, which we read, most of them, all the time, and then we do something totally different. The port matters, because I know the time is clicking, but I got to say this because last time the mic was cut off, so I want to make sure it's done while we're doing this. How are we saying that we're concerned about Amtrak coming here and saying that we would be the only city to do this piece of it, yet Topgolf, we're the only city in the country who paid them to come here? And we also should be going to the governor and saying, 1 out of every 7 jobs in the state, not the city, not the county, not the region, the state, comes from the port. The port has a $93 billion impact. So we can't use that to get resources here to do something that's going to increase tourism. As we know, that's an issue of this administration, doing something wrong. But we have to continue that later. Thank you for yielding the floor.
Jonna Rogers regarding Ordinance 88036.
Good morning. I'm Jonna Rogers. I live at 256 North Jackson Street. I'm an officer in the Detani Square Historic Neighborhood Board. Sunday night, we had an emergency meeting regarding the affordable housing unit that is proposed in our district. An unprecedented number of people attended. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Actually, over 2/3. We've never had that kind of attendance before. That's how important people viewed this proposal. Our goal that night was to share real, documented information and try to get answers to relevant questions. Each person in attendance realized that this project had the potential to be devastating and destroy many years of work to build up Detante and, at very least, plummet property values. Since ignorance, hearsay, and gossip are destroyers, we commissioned several of our members to go seek real information from individuals and from anything they could glean online. And we invited Rashawn Figures to join us to answer questions. Everybody reported in, and Rashawn wonderfully, for about an hour, answered our questions. This cleared up so much of the uncertainty we had from our perception of the lack of transparency from the city in this development. We voted. There was only one dissenting vote out of 40. We voted to support Rashawn's continuing in this venture. And this happened only because he agreed happily, readily, to include our neighborhood in the planning and development of these houses and to go forth to the ARB. Our reservations for this project are still there, and we need assurance from you that these will hold true. One, that per the deed, there'll only be 9 houses, single detached family homes built on that property, that 5 of them market value and 4 of them affordable housing available to teachers and first responders. Rashawn also said that the primary goal was lease to purchase on those 4, and that made it even better. I hope that to be true. Number 2, that we do get to have people in DeTante work on the design and development of these houses. And 3, that indeed they will be built to certified, fortified gold standard. Our neighborhood involvement is phenomenal. Our goal is to protect our
Can I get 2
historic
council members?
development
One
and
minute.
Mobile.
One minute. Can I get 2 council members to agree to let her go? Go ahead, got 1 more minute.
Okay. Our goal is to protect our historic integrity for Mobile, is to maintain our eclectic diversity, to maintain the property values, and we are a destination point for tourists in Mobile. We value that. We hope that's your goal, because quite frankly, what's good for DeTante is great for Mobile. And I love Mobile. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
Council.
Thank you.
Rashawn
Mr.
Figures.
President.
Mayor.
Make a comment. Sincerely appreciate your comments, and I'm really grateful that the organization, the neighborhood organization, got together. From the very beginning, what you have just described as your vision for having you involved, making sure that it fit the neighborhood, single-family houses, a limited number, certain number affordable, that was our vision from the very beginning. It took a lot of planning before it ever got to Rashawn, even before he was even involved. But we're really grateful to hear what you have said, because I think it meshes exactly with what we wanted to do with that piece of property. So thank you for your comments.
Sean Figures, owners of Figures Investments. You can't hear me? Okay. I don't have to say too much after that. I just want to let you know that we take this project seriously. Thanks to the administration and the city council for making this possible, and understanding that service workers, firemen, police officers, and teachers need to be a part of the ecosystem downtown in a great community like DeTante. As she said, we met with the DeTante group Sunday, answered a lot of questions and stayed there. And they had some legitimate concerns. And once we answered those questions and they understood that the affordable units would be for those service workers, it was a great process. Again, thanks, and we appreciate the opportunity, as always. Any questions?
Council. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Madam Clerk.
Stephen Harvey regarding resolutions 47, 512, and 513.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Stephen Harvey. I'm with the law firm McDowell Knight here in Mobile.
A little closer to the mic.
11 North Water Street, Mobile. I'm here on behalf of the petitioner for the street vacation, Alabama Export Railroad. I don't think there's any issue with the vacation. The utilities have all consented to it. I think the city departments are fine with it. They do want some easements reserved in the right-of-way that's to be vacated, and of course, we'll do that. The issue is with the fee that the city typically charges to the adjacent property owners for the land that the property owners will acquire through the vacation. And I think the fee here is $42,000. And I understand the city council usually does not waive that fee. They have the discretion, but they typically do not. I think this is one of the situations where the city should waive the fee. A month or so ago, Nick Amberger, the city engineer, called me and asked if we would meet with various department personnel at the city to talk about the street vacation and the city's green trail. Adjacent to these two lots on each side of Meadow Drive, Alabama Export also owns another 27 acres. And that is where one section of the green trail that the city has proposed for the trail to go through. And Nick asked if we would be willing to grant an easement for that trail. And Alabama Export is willing to grant that easement, and it's a long easement. It's going to be a half-mile long. But we think it's fair if Alabama Export does that the city waive the fee for the street vacation. The amount of square footage of the street, of the vacated portion of Meadow Drive that ALE will acquire is only 32,000 square feet. And the square footage of the easement, which is 20 feet wide and at least 2,500 feet long, is over 50,000 square feet. So the city will be getting much more than Alabama Export will, and we just think it's fair that the fee be waived under these circumstances.
Mr. President?
Mr. Penn?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you so much for coming. I'm actually in agreement. I support this. I think it's a great opportunity for the city. Of course, we have the 3-mile trail taking place. So I just want to let my colleagues know that I support it.
Mr. President,
Mr. Reynolds?
this is an easement that you're going to grant for the 3 Mile Creek, correct? The Green Trail, just an easement. You're not conveying the property. You're just allowing an easement.
I'm sorry?
You're not conveying the property to the city. You're just allowing an easement, correct?
Well, yeah, we'll have to grant and convey an easement, yes.
Okay, but in the vacation of this right-of-way, you're actually taking ownership of the property. Is that correct?
Subject to all these easements that are there, it's the same thing. We just can't build on it or do anything on it. There's a lot of utility facilities there. We can just access it and cross over the top, just like they will for the Green Trail. And the reason that ALE really wants, in part, the main reason to vacate Meadow Drive is because people are dumping trash at the end of Meadow Drive next to the railroad tracks, and they can't stop them from going in there as long as it's a public road. It's awful. I've sent to the city clerk a handout. I don't know if you're looking at it, but I've got a photo I took of that area, and you can see how trashy it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And other council members? Okay. Madam Clerk?
Ordinances held over. 88036, ordinance donating certain city property to the city's affordable housing program and authorizing the sale.
So moved.
Second. And properly moving second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll?
I'd like to offer an amendment to this ordinance, adding the language no longer needed for municipal purpose.
Okay, second.
And properly moving second. Any other discussion? All in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
All opposed? Back to the original. Any other discussion?
So, Mr. President,
Mr. Woods?
so I heard the amendment. Sorry, I stepped up to take a phone call, but I wanted to make sure that we had the full scope of language that Mr. Linder had sent around for this amendment.
Could you repeat?
Would you like me to read the amendment out loud?
Yeah, that would be great.
This is as submitted to the council and the clerk a little while ago. The amendment is Section 1 of the ordinance is hereby amended to read in full as follows. Section 1, it is hereby found and determined by the City Council of the City of Mobile, Alabama, that the property at 311 North Claiborne Street, hereinafter described, is no longer needed for municipal purposes, comma, but pursuant to Alabama Code Section 11-96A-3, is made available for donation for a public purpose and made available as a program matching resources to the affordable housing program administered by the City of Mobile, and that it is in the best interest of the City of Mobile and in the public interest that said properties be sold to Figures Investments Incorporated for the purpose of an affordable housing project. The property description and legal descriptions follow thereafter. They're the same as in the original ordinance.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed. Madam Clerk?
Mr. President, before we move on,
Ms. Carroll.
As I stated in pre-council today, there needs to be a better way for us to let the general public and other developers know what property the city has available. There are other developers out there that have asked, why were they not included? Why did they not know about it? How come there was nothing posted on any of the standard websites? We need to make it loud and clear that this should be a competitive process when city has property available for development, that everyone can take an opportunity to either bid for, go after, respond to an RFQ or an RFP. And I think that's very, very important if we're going to have proper participation within the city and not look as if though we are sole sourcing opportunities to individual developers or contractors. Thank you, Mr. President.
Madam Clerk?
Consent resolutions held over. 40-293. Declare the structure at 2154 Grove Court a public nuisance and order it demolished.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passed.
CIP resolutions held over. 21486. Authorized contract with H.O. Weaver and Sons for 2024 CIP resurfacing District 6 and 7.
So moved.
Second. Properly moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions held over. 08487. Approved purchase order to Classic Paint and Body for damage repair to fire pumper truck. 08488. Approved purchase order to Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram for crew cab pickup truck. 08489. Approved purchase order to UKG Chronos Systems for annual renewal of software for Mobile Fire and Rescue Department. 08490. Approved purchase order to Whisper Cool for portable HVAC unit for the tennis center. 09491. Reallocate $1 million in the Capital Improvement Fund to capital project Langham Park Lake Dredging. 09492. Reallocate $600,000 from Capital Improvement Reserve to capital project Spring Hill Court and Spring Hill Avenue site improvement. 21493. Authorized contract with Best Price Services for right-of-way mowing on Ziegler Boulevard. 21494. Authorized contract with Geotechnical Engineering Testing for Western Bayfront resurfacing. 21495. Authorized contract with SPV Associates doing business as On Indus for eBuilder. 21496. Authorized contract with the Peninsula of Mobile for fiscal year 23 Hurricane Response Debris Removal Grant. 21497. Authorized contract with USA Industrial Medicine for employee physical exams. 25498. Grant a permanent easement to Alabama Power to provide new underground service to Loretta Park. 6500. Authorized settlement agreement and release of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Vice President?
Several of these resolutions relate to District 7, so I just want to go through them to explain what they are about. 491, which is reallocating funding for Langham Park for dredging. This is continuing the project, or at least getting the project started to dredge the lake. We've been working on this for years and years, and these funds come from the restore dollars. So you know how long ago that's been when we had the BP oil spill. So these are restore funds that are being transferred to another account, which is just another step along the way so that we can get the lake dredged. The Spring Hill Court, Spring Hill Avenue site improvement is a public safety issue there with a wall. that was created back in the 70s, and it has really become a problem over there. So we're able to get that fixed this summer. We'll have to close down a lane of traffic when that happens. So it will be a little bit of inconvenience for people, but it will be finished this summer when school is out, which was the goal. Also, the right-of-way mowing. This is Ziegler Boulevard, where the widening project has been ongoing. The contractor there has been responsible for the right-of-way mowing during the construction. So now that construction is well on its way to being complete, we are turning that over to a private contractor. And Loretta Park, the underground easement there for Alabama Power is for those pickleball courts that are coming along in Loretta Park area. So I think that's all of those for District 7. Doesn't usually happen that way, but we just happen to have a number of them for my district, and I wanted to let everybody know what they. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Ordinances being introduced, 64037 through 64038.
Per council rules, these will lay over for 1 week.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 37501 through 6506.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of these resolutions as read.
Second. Been properly moved and second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Rules waived. Madam Clerk?
37501, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a lounge retail liquor class 1 license to 509 Live. 40, 502, and 503 are declaring the structures at 3154 Riverside Drive and 7151 13th Street public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 58, 504, and 505 are authorizing removal of weeds, Group 1657, and assessing costs for removal of weeds, Weedling Group 1653. 60, 506, determine an appropriation to Opportunity for Entertainers and Performing Arts, serves a public purpose, and approve payment.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second in the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes.
Resolutions being introduced, 08, 507 through 6514.
Move to waive the rules for immediate consideration of Resolution 23-511, with the rest of these resolutions being laid over for 1 week.
Madam Vice President, Mr. President, I believe the special counsel has asked that you go ahead and take up 514 this week as well, as so he can get going on those matters. The subpoenas.
6514.
No. I think right now it's just 23-511.
He's asking for us to waive the rules to take up 60-514.
That is correct.
That is for the special counsel and subpoena power so that they can start moving on the investigation.
That is correct.
So I do have to tell you also, I'm supposed to meet with the special counsel this afternoon to talk about the scope. It's relatively broad. I know we want to complete this within 45 days. If you would give us at least that time before you voted on the subpoena power, he can start this investigation already. We have no opposition to that. More importantly, the people who are available as employees, they're going to be compelled to show up anyway.
Well, hold up. Our attorney had asked for 60-514 to be brought up today. Is someone from the council holding unanimous consent and holding this up?
No, I'm fine.
Okay, the vice president says she's withholding. Okay, so we are back to the 23-511.
We need a second to suspend the rules.
Pardon me?
And yeah, second. And then the discussion on suspending the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Madam Clerk?
23-511, accept deed from the State of Alabama Department of Conservation and National Resources for the acquisition of Helenwood Park.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and second in the discussion. And just would like to let the citizens really of Mobile know, not just District 3, but this particular item, Helenwood Park is one of the few places that many citizens fish in the city of Mobile. for years, and even since I've been on the council, I thought that the city of Mobile owned the property. Actually, the city of Mobile was leasing the property from the state of Alabama. Came to find out, since the city was leasing the property, was only certain things we was able to do. So with the help of Representative Barbara Drummond, the city now owns the property. No money has changed whatsoever. So now the citizens are more free to go there and fish, and the city of Mobile have control of Helen Woods Park. I do again appreciate the Representative Barbara Drummond and the state of Alabama for this. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Just a brief discussion on 60-514, the subpoenas.
We already, we on.
I'm just asking a question here. I'm not saying that we're voting. I'm not asking to vote.
But this discussion on this particular item, Mr. Carroll.
Well, which I thought we just passed.
We already submitted. No, we haven't voted. We're on this discussion on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we passed it already.
Another discussion on this item. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item pass.
Announcements.
District 2, Councilman Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to go back to 60-514, the issuance of subpoenas. It's my understanding, based on Zogby, in order for the subpoenas to be issued, the council has to pass this authorization here. Is that not correct?
That's our interpretation, yes.
Okay. I heard the administrative lawyer for the mayor say that he wants to discuss scope with the special counsel. I thought that scope has been set already, so I'm not looking to hear anything about scope creep or scope diminish. And why are we, or they, what is the request to discuss scope when it's been set? I'd like to know that answer too. Can you provide an answer for that? Why are we discussing scope? It's already been said.
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
You said
Sorry.
I want to discuss scope with special counsel.
No. Look, happy to discuss that. So ultimately, you have to think about two things, right? One is any lawyer hired by the city council, the mayor, or executive or legislative branch ultimately represents the same entity, right? We have an obligation. No matter who we report to, we have an obligation to protect the same entity. All right. That's number one. That's our professional obligation. I don't know that many lawyers would disagree with. You're ultimately representing the same entity, the city of Mobile, right? So there is going to be more involved than just this investigation when you start asking certain questions. And we have got to make sure that we protect the city and its employees at all times, not just dealing with the confines of this investigation, but litigation that may come after it. And you also have other employees that are involved in this and other employment actions that have happened in and around the departure of our former chief. So I just want to have a chance to at least have that discussion before we start going too far out on the ledge and then nothing's happened. So I don't anticipate much of a change, but I at least want a chance to have that discussion because ultimately we both represent the city, or we all represent the city.
I don't know where Mr. Woods and Mr. Reynolds are, but after their hard work in making sure that we had a set scope, I would not want to see any change based on what the council already approved. That was my reason for asking. So I think our scope is set, and I think that we should be moving forward with what we have without any changes to that scope.
So I want to explain to you, I'm not talking about the scope of the investigation. I'm talking about the scope of the subpoenas themselves. So that's what I'm talking about. So that hasn't been set. The scope of the investigation, whether or not you have issues with that has been said. I think Mr. Carroll is correct. What I'm talking about is the scope of what we would normally refer to in legal parlance is the scope of discovery and what we're looking at, the amount, the time frame, the focus, because ultimately we want to get to whether or not something's been done wrong, and we want to get to that in a timely manner. Somebody who is not necessarily as familiar with this process and how much that's going to involve as me and Mr. Linder, it is not going to necessarily understand how broad that scope can be or how much is involved. And that's the conversations that we want to have as a second tier. First tier being at all times, we are obligated to protect the city
from harm that would come from outward litigation outside of this investigation. I understand not everybody else is required to think about that, but me and Mr. Linder, we're obligated to think about that at any given time. All right.
Another announcement, Mr. Carroll.
Mr. President, well, I can announce that we had a extremely busy weekend, I think all over the city between all districts. I can say that we had an extremely well turnout downtown in the Community Lawn Festival over at Prince of Peace. Mr. Reynolds' daughters must have thanked me 5 times. I think I still have water in my ear. I think he thanked me once, and a few others also thanked me in that dunking booth. But I appreciate everyone that came out and supported the community, supported the parish, and actually had a great, fun, family-filled weekend with no incident. I think I saw so many people from the Down and Bay community that I hadn't seen in a while actually come out in the rain to enjoy themselves. Those are the types of events that we as a city need to continue to have and to really have. Also in District 2, as I stated a couple of weeks ago, I'm looking to prepare a meeting of the areas that were once part of District 5 coming into District 2 that are out on around Pleasant Valley and back down Morgan and Seminole and over into William Street on the Dauphin Street side. So, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity for the announcements, and let's all have a great day.
District 6, Councilman Woods. No announcements. District 4, Councilman Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was not going to miss the opportunity to show up at the Prince of Peace lawn party. I appreciate the council president bringing it to my attention that I should show up. And I did show up, me and my 2 girls, to make sure that we hit the target and put Mr. Carroll, down in the dunking booth. And we cheated a little bit. I sent the girls right up 3 foot away from the target to make sure that one of us were going to walk away with dunking him. And turns out we all did. And I appreciate Mr. Carroll being a good sport. Thank you, Mr. President.
District 1, Councilman Penn.
Thank you, Mr. President. This past weekend, we had the opportunity to have our peace rally. It was supposed to be at the LaFleur Stadium, but because of the rain, we had to move it to Right Way Christian Center Church, which still was amazing. We had a great turnout. We had the opportunity to encourage, talk about issues and challenges, and then announce our Adopt the School initiative. So you still have an opportunity. If you have a church in District 1, you want to adopt a school, let us know so we can be a part of that. And that's our goal, to move forward, to create peace. We pray for our city. We also pray for the police department, fire department, first responders, the administration, and the council, and just different elements of the city. So it was a great event. Thank you to District 1 for showing up. I'm District 1, you're District 1, we're District 1. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Penn. District 7, Vice President Gregory.
Thank you. Councilman Small and I both joined forces to provide greetings to the new pastor at the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church on Saturday. Great turnout as always, and just a wonderful experience for everyone to welcome the senior pastor, Tremaine Benson, and his wife to Mobile. And Councilman Small was very adamant about working with the community and the young people, because he was kind of teasing me a little bit, I think, because the pastor is a young man, and CJ over here is a young man. And I said, okay, fine. I guess I'll get my walking cane out and hobble on out of here. But anyway, the folks at Friendship are always welcoming and very supportive in our community and in our district. And I appreciate Councilman Small joining forces with me to provide the greetings to everyone at Friendship. So thank you.
Vice President, since I've been on the council, I always told you, you're my Barbie doll, and you will always be my Barbie doll.
Dear.
Greetings to the citizens of District 3 and to the city of Mobile. I had an opportunity to share in many events this past weekend in District 3, District 2, 1, and 7. But one of the events I attended in District 3 along with Ms. Keisha Brown was welcoming the National League of Cities to the city of Mobile at the Heritage House. I would like to throw this bone out there to the administration. When I was heading to the Heritage House on Saturday, I was on the phone talking. I got kind of confused getting to my destination. But when I pulled up, there were several vehicles out there, and they all was from out of town, different states, which was a great look. And from my understanding, even before I got there, there were many more visitors at the Heritage House. But going through the community wasn't the best. And I know there's many areas in the city, and I might get beat up by some residents in District 3 for saying this, but we have residents that's coming from out of the state, going to a particular neighborhood, especially visiting a landmark, a place where people need to, a museum, pretty much we need to find like a designated route for visitors can take with signs pointing to a certain way and making sure that those areas just stay clean at all times. Again, it might be something in the works, but I didn't see it. Like I said, I got turned around, but I do know that areas that I end up at, it wasn't the best. But we have a lot of visitors that are visiting the Heritage House home, but we need to make sure that we have good signage out there to direct people to go in a certain way and come out a certain way.
So, Mr. President, we're already there with you. So, Executive Director Smith was just informing me not only we were working on the wayfinding, but we're also working on a balance to support the request from Councilman Carroll not to do demolition there as we move toward protecting the area. So that both of those things are happening as we go, but we're already there with you.
Okay. All right. Anything else from this council?
One more thing, Mr. President.
Vice President.
For those of you listening, the president did not mean any disrespect to me. It is truly in fun, and it really goes back to my media days. And since I've been on the council, I'm always a stickler for how the photos look and how video looks. That is all he was referring to. Just to make sure everybody understands.
I don't think nobody was thinking like that. Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. President.
Mr. Carroll.
Since she said that, I'm just going to throw this out here. I mean, you do have a Ken approach to dressing around here.
Oh.
So if she wants to be Barbie, then I think you can fill in as the Ken.
No.
I also, in the conversation about Africatown Plateau, I think that a lot of what you're talking about is some overgrown lots along the property lines and along the streets and right-of-ways that there are a lot of missing property owners that we might be able to help with from time to time, keeping those right-of-ways clean. Jason and a lot of other people spend a lot of time picking up and cleaning up out there in Africatown, so there's a huge effort. But there's a lot of work to be done to restore the entire community. Africatown Redevelopment Corporation is doing a tremendous job with building affordable houses and adding to the affordable housing stock out there, but they can't do it alone. And I think that we talk about that all the time. The city has offered or given $250,000, which is going towards administrative costs with another $250,000, and then money coming from the county also. So there's a lot we have to do out there, a lot. And I welcome any monies or advancements or grants or ways to enhance the community and push it forward. Also, on the wayfinding, I thought that we had hit a bump or a hiccup on the wayfinding. If that is now clear and we have a path forward with Shayla, and I don't know if we're talking about the video wayfinding or if we're just talking about just plain signage that we're going to use, I think that the quicker we do that, the better. Also, with the advent and the coming of the center right there at Bayshore Drive, turning on the right or on the south side of the street at Bayshore, going up or just before the bridge across from the cemetery. So I think there's a lot we have to do and need to do. So if we can find additional resources, let's please do that.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. I wish the folks from the Detente Square were here, but our best partner thus far in affordable housing has been the Mobile County Public School System. And so this is a joint effort with the school system on the sale of those lots. And if y'all recall, when the agreement that we entered into with them was that once the lots were sold, that we would split the proceeds with the school board 50-50. And, that's in recognition of the other things that they have done to help us facilitate affordable housing. So I just want to give a shout out to the Mobile County Public Schools System for the help they've given us in this. Thank you.
Anything else from anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, properly moving second in discussion.